going on as well. So what I wanted to look at first were the drums. Let's take a peek here. And what you can hear for this intro is some 80s sounding drums. And we did that with a gated reverb, and I'll show that in just a second. So let's take a listen to the solo drums. Phil Collins, anybody? Again, feel free to leave comments. Let me know anything you want me to look at in particular. You know, I haven't been able to interact with very many people lately, so this is my interaction, talking to myself today in my studio. So if you guys have comments, things you want to see, let me know. Or if you just want to talk smack, that's all good too, because let's have some fun today. So 80s drum sounds. How do we do it? Well, these are all real drums. There's very few triggers. So if we look at this software, you can see the mix knob for the trigger is at 60%. Let's listen to just the kick real quick on its own. So without trigger, not that different. We would rather not use the triggers. That's a little bit different, you know, than I used to do things about 8 to 10 years ago. I kind of relied on triggers because, you know, that was the method that was working at the time. But nowadays, we try to use them as sparingly as possible. So only about halfway that we're hearing the trigger there. But now let's look at how are we getting that 80s Phil Collins drum sound, and it's all tied to the Universal Audio AMS RMX plugin here. So let's hear it with and without this plugin. So without it, that's given us all the vibe and all the character of those drums. It gives it that stylized sound, that Phil Collins 80s drum sound, the gated reverb sound. So how do we get that? It's with a nonlinear reverb. And so a nonlinear reverb is a reverb that works oppositely to how a reverb would naturally work. Naturally, the sound starts out loud and it dissipates and gets quieter. But with a nonlinear reverb, which is something that can't actually be created in the real world, it can only be done digitally, is the reverb starts quiet and gets louder. And that's why we hear this open reverberated sound on the drums that closes off real quickly. So nonlinear 2 on this particular plugin. So this one's from UAD. That's how we get that nice 80s drum sound on this